Hello, and welcome to the Kosh, the People's Podcast. Yes, we're going to start saying that. The People's Podcast. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and the Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who've had an association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area. Kosh listeners, how are we doing this morning? You know, it's been a minute. I don't think I've recorded an episode in a couple of weeks here, and now we're getting back on track. You know, whenever you get back in front of the microphone after a couple of weeks off, you feel a little rusty. But what we do have going on today is amazing energy, amazing weather, because, you know, I'm going to give you the weather report. It is sunny, it is bright, it is summer, it is fantastic. I can't wait to jump into this weekend day, this Saturday day, and even more importantly, we have, well, why don't I just jump into it flat out right away? You know, I don't know why I continue to get these amazing, amazing guests. And of course, like all weeks, this week is no different. My guest is fantastic. I am crazy excited about this conversation because it not only is the person fire, but there's some really cool things that this person is associated with that I think we're going to get an opportunity to talk about. But, you know, without any further ado. Hey, this week's guest is Ryan Rasmussen.
You got it, Rasmussen.
Oh, I did it?
Yeah,
okay. I didn't slaughter it too bad.
No, it's perfect.
I didn't even ask for the pre-enunciation because I was pretty confident that I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. Usually people get it on the spelling. That's where it's most confusing. They'll put the double S in front instead of the second.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, because then you're Ras.
That's right, Rasmussen. Right.
No, that ain't.
Nobody likes that.
That ain't gonna fly like that. All right. Well, Ryan, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing awesome, Timber. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me. This is great.
No, thank you for making time to be on the Kosh and to talk to our Kosh listeners and to be about to share some really cool things. Yeah. Not only just about yourself, but what you do.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay. Well, let's jump in. Wait, you know what? Before we jump in, let me just make sure I do this because I want to make sure that I want to say that this episode is sponsored by Sunken Paddle Cider Works. I'm making the best of it. If y'all don't know, I'm going to tell you the time frame of when this was recorded. It is EAA week. We are in the thick of it. And what I want to give a shout out, particularly to them for doing, is they released the Kosh cider this week for the EAA guests. Hey, have you had their ciders yet?
I have had their ciders. They're fantastic.
They are fantastic.
Which means the Kosh cider has to be even better.
It is pretty, you know what? I don't want to, go overload with it, but I'm going to say it is fantastic for sure. It is habanero blackberry.
Ooh.
Do you get down with that?
Spicy? Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And see, we had a conversation because, we wanted, it's not like spicy on the tongue.
Yeah.
But if you're drinking it, it warms the chest. It warms the heart.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's what the Kosh does.
It's what? That's exactly right.
That's right.
People's podcast.
That's right. The People's Podcast and the People's Drink or the People's Cider. That's what we're going to call it.
People's Cider.
The People's Cider because there is a Kosh cocktail out there too.
Must be Sturgeon Spirits craft cocktail.
Yes,
nice.
You know it. So I got to send out a shout out to my church too. But okay, I just wanted to give those shout outs. Make sure you can pick up that Kosh cider at the food co-op, and you can always have a Kosh cocktail at my church, known as Sturgeon Spirits, the Kosh's newest tradition. All right, now Ryan. On to the real business at hand.
You mean that wasn't it?
Well,
it's got to be.
You know what? Tell me what you think about this idea. See, I've decided that, and I don't know if this is a good idea or not a good idea. I've decided that maybe what we should do is give a little sample of these things in the morning while we're recording.
It's quality control. That's first and foremost.
Right.
And then taste test.
I think a little taste, a sipper.
Yeah.
While you're doing your episode.
Or even better, it could be blind and line up a couple of them and see if you can pick out the one.
Oh.
Can you pick out the Kosh cocktail or the Kosh cider?
Oh no! You see, I just want to make perfection the first time and let you know that you're drinking greatness.
Yeah, that's true. I feel it already. That warmth in my heart already, I can feel.
Bruh.
All right. Hey, Ryan, can you please share a little something about yourself and your connection to the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area?
I'd love to. It's a story. So, first and foremost, I'm a townie, born and raised right here in Oshkosh. I absolutely love this community. I spent a brief tick of time up in Green Bay, but came back very quickly. So I have a lot of roots here. All of my family's from here. So yeah, we've just been Oshkoshonians for a long, long time. So I just love this community. And so being able to give back is just something that's really important to me. So
let me just ask some of these qualifying townie questions.
Oh gosh, here we go.
All right, what's the high school?
So I'm a Catholic boy, Lourdes High School right here in town.
All right.
Yep. And actually I was Catholic schools my whole way through. So
okay. So
Sacred Heart Elementary School on Knapp Street. When that closed, they unified the system. I went over to St. John Neumann, from St. John Neumann to Lourdes. And then college time, I continued that journey all the way to St. Norbert up in De Pere. So.
Oh, okay. You did St. Norbert.
Yes. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
All right. I just wanted clarification.
I thought you were going to go really hard and you were going to split the divide. Like, is it Artie and Ed's or Leon's or something like that?
Oh, that's a great question. So which one is it?
I know. I have to say both, but I got to be political about it, right? Honestly, Artie and Ed's has my heart. There's just something about that black cow over there that just gets me. However, I can go to Leon's and get a Juicy Lucy, and a caramel cashew sundae is also on the list. So, but it is a great divide. You are either an Artie and Ed's or you're a Leon's person.
Or you could be New School and be Rhapsodies.
You know, that's true. Rhapsodies is also really good.
I mean, they're in the running, I think.
I think you are right.
You know, I don't know. My daughter used to work at Rhapsodies, so I do have an affinity towards Rhapsodies. But I'm not gonna lie, those juicy burgers or those Jew burgers, isn't that what they call those?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
those things are fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah,
I need to. You know what?
They get it done.
That might be a field trip today.
That's right.
It might just have to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Tell us more.
Yeah, but more about me. So just kind of my history and how I came to be. I really kind of started off my career working in here in town. I started off with the Supli Restaurant Group, working over at Fratello's, which is now Fox River Brewing Company, doing a variety of things, busing, and this was in high school time, busing and, just making that money in high school. When I went to college up at St. Norbert, they had a restaurant that was open up inside of Lambeau Field. And at the time, it was called Paparazzi Pizza that turned into the Hall of Fame Grill. And when they found out I was going to St. Norbert, they're like, well, hey, we need some help up at this restaurant. Would you go up there? And I was like, well, sure, why not? So ended up going to St. Norbert, carried on my work career up there and worked with them. They had the restaurant while I was there for about a year or two, I think. And then they ended up selling to Levy Restaurants, which was a Chicago-based company that ran all of the concessions and catering and all of the things up at Lambeau for food. And so I ended up just opting to stay with them and continue that working career with them. So going to school, had 2 jobs. I was working at Lambeau. I was also working for the Kemp's Corporation. I was
Good God.
I was stocking. Yeah, I was at Woodman's in Appleton stocking the freezer department and the dairy department.
This was all at the same time?
All at the exact same time.
What?
Yeah.
When did you have time?
I didn't. I literally would get up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would go in and do my Kemp's thing. And then after that, I'd go to school. I'd be in school all the way till 3, 4 o'clock. I'd try to jam about an hour's worth of homework in and then go off to Lambeau and work the night shift at Lambeau as a server and a bartender. So, yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But the cool thing about it is, I was able to walk away from St. Norbert, which has a pretty high tuition. I mean, at the time, it was like $30,000 a year or something. I only walked away with about $30,000 worth of loans. So it was
impressive.
It was fulfilling, right? Because I was putting in the work to be able to do it. So work career happens. I'm in college. I have no idea what I want to do with life. And at the time I thought, okay, maybe I'd be a psychologist. Maybe I'd get into social work. Maybe I'd get into something else. So I started taking all these psychology classes. And I find out, there's way more science than just helping people when it comes to psychology.
Oh,
right?
facts.
Right?
Facts. It is and it's not just talking to people.
No, right, exactly. And what I loved was just talking to people and helping people, and it really wasn't like the science behind it. So I was like, okay, this isn't quite working for me. So I ended up kind of dropping that. I had been in Catholic schools my whole life, so I thought, okay, why not? I'm going to continue this journey. And so I switched my major to a religious studies and philosophy major.
Bruh.
And that was probably one of the best things I ever did, mostly because when people talk about religion, I was really able to talk not only about Catholicism, but I was able to talk about a wide variety of different religions and different aspects. And the best part about it was they made you argue. If you're going to be a believer, it doesn't matter what faith, you need to be able to argue for the other side. And so forget everything that you know, because everything that you know is junk. Let's start over and let's argue the other side. And if you can come out that side and still be a believer, then you got something. And it was mind-blowing, especially as a young adult trying to figure out life. It was perfect. It was everything I needed. But at the same time, I needed to make money. So
let me ask a quick question.
Yeah.
What's the most interesting or most profound thing that you figured out while you went through that process? Because I do think that there's something to that, to really understand each other. I think we would argue a lot less as people or disagree a lot less with people if we took the time to do that about most of those hot topic things.
Yeah, exactly. When you whittle a lot of religions down, they're all about the same thing, right? We just talk about it in different ways. Isn't that just when we talk about diversity, isn't the exact same thing? Aren't we all really the same at some point? In some area in life, we're all the same.
We want the same things for the most part.
Exactly. I think for me, what was profound is throughout my Catholic upbringing, they continuously taught the dogma of the Catholic Church. These are all the things that you're supposed to learn, or you're supposed to know, and these are the things that you're supposed to grow up with. When I got there, it was flip the script. That's not true, right? Let's dive into it. Let's dive into the Bible. Let's dive into these stories. Let's dive into these things, and let's actually break down what we know. And what we know isn't a ton, right? Or at least what scholars would argue as being the truth. There isn't a ton. So it leaves a ton open for interpretation. So how you see through that interpretation becomes if you can argue for anything, that's where you find your own belief. And that was mind-blowing to me. I mean, one of the stories, of course, being raised Catholic, coming up, it's the Christmas story, right? You got the three wise men that are coming in, it's all the things, and, the star shining down, and, baby Jesus in the crib, all the stuff, right?
Right.
When I had a professor look at me and they're like, yeah, none of that's true. And I was like, what are you talking about? There's no. I mean, it's not that. The wise men, they didn't come in like that, right? The star wasn't shining directly down at Jesus. All this stuff. There was a person that was named Jesus. He was born around this time, but nobody can agree on exactly anything about this person. But we know that there was at least a person. Forget all that. Man, mind blown, right? All these things that you felt like you knew. It's like when somebody tells you that Santa Claus isn't real, right? It's like, holy cow.
What? You might be running it.
Sorry.
Hey, I'm sorry if there's any young people out there.
Man.
Really, it's the Grinch.
It is the Grinch. Yeah, he definitely stole Christmas. So, yeah, it was just all these things. It's just all these things. And it was so enlightening. And for me, it battled my faith. And did it make me a better believer? Maybe. But what it did do is it made me think. And that was the most important piece coming out of it, is it made me think. It made me say, okay, let's not take everything at surface level. Let's dive into it. And let's see what it's like. And ultimately, I would hope that that's what college is all about. Or at least it should be, right?
It's supposed to be, yes.
Let's think.
Critical thinking.
Yeah, exactly. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I say all that, and I still needed to make money, right? Because we still got to pay bills. So I continued my journey on at Lambeau, and one of my jokes is, everybody always said, well, Ryan, what are you going to do with a religious studies and a philosophy degree? What are you going to do with that? And I was like, well, I don't know if I really want to be a professor, so I guess I'll get into food service, because that's the natural transition, I suppose. And so stuck it out at Lambeau and just started working my way up through the ranks. The majority of my career there was Curly's Pub, which was the restaurant there at the time. Went from server to bartender to supervisor all the way to a manager. From there, they asked me to go over to the concession side of things. So I was a concessions manager. I was an in-seat manager. I was a premium seat level manager before I finally got to catering up in the banquets. So really just kept doing it over and over and over again. After almost 10 years working there, Levy Restaurants was up with their contract. They went to RFP. The Packers went to RFP. New company was coming in. And at that point, I had spent 10 years there. I'd kind of seen it, done it. So I was looking for a little bit of a change. And, you know, I'm at this point, I'm in my 20s, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And so I got this opportunity, or I had this boss at the time that said, well, this thing opened up down here in Oshkosh, and they're looking for a food and beverage manager. And so you should go check it out. And at that point, I had said, you know, I don't think I was going to stick on with the new company. I'd seen it all, like I said. And I should also mention, when it wasn't season time working at Lambeau, they would travel you all over the place.
Bruh.
And so I got the privilege of working for a lot of just large scale, really awesome, big events. I've done the Kentucky Derby a couple of times.
What?
Yeah, I've done NASCAR races. I was out in Vegas for a couple races there. I've done the PGA Championship in Quail Hollow. I was part of the opening team that opened TD Ameritrade Ballpark in Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series.
You've gotten to see some things.
I've seen some things. I was very blessed, very fortunate to be able to see and do a lot. But of course, with that came a ton of work. You know,
Facts.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been able to see a lot of really cool, high-profile events and just see how they work and how you can best pull off something that huge. So just really blessed in that. So again, in my 20s, and I'm tired, right? Like I've been putting in crazy amounts of work. I was looking for a little bit of a change in atmosphere, and that's when we discovered the EAA gig that opened up. And so I took a chance at it, and I said, all right, I've been working in this industry for a long time now, 10 years. I've got to test this. Have I actually learned what I think I've learned? I've got to go off and I've got to go try to do it myself somewhere else. And if I'm successful there, then I know I've got it. If not, then I got to rethink life. So I chanced it. I did it. Was able to get the job and became the food and beverage manager at EAA. That journey was incredible. It's also timely, being EAA week right now.
Facts.
So it is. It's pretty cool. I always like to say I went from, in my opinion, the mecca of sports, Lambeau Field. If you're a sports fan, you've got to go there. To the mecca of aviation, truly. So I was blessed to be able to go to two really cool spots. Got there. That was the first time that they had that position ever, and so we were charting brand new territory there in what we were going to do. So, yeah, I was in charge of all of the concession operations, the catering operations, their liquor license, so all the bar operations, all that kind of fun stuff. Had a great team around me. But yeah, just putting in the work there. We revamped that whole food program, did a lot of really positive things. We were able to bring in community members during AirVenture to run some of the concession stands. Before it was a one-party system, a two-party system. There was two folks involved. But we were the team that were charged to get the community involved. Let's see what other restaurants or other folks that are out there that might want to come in and do this.
So you started that.
Yeah.
You're the reason Pete's Garage is out there now.
Well, I don't know about Pete's in particular, but the idea of having, yes.
No, I just saw people saying really funny things about Pete's being out of EA.
Yeah. And it sounds like they're doing great.
Oh, no, I think they're doing
awesome.
They are fed. Their food's fantastic.
Oh, my God, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Give me a gas cap anytime. I am all in.
Yes.
I'm all in. So, yeah, just paved another 10 years, almost 10 years at EAA, and just did a lot of incredible things. Life things happened, and found a transition to finally work my way through over to the pantry, which is where I'm at now. And at that point, it was one of those things where I had always wanted to be in nonprofits because I always wanted to help people. I knew that was something that I wanted to do. And you could argue, yes, I was a part of nonprofits before, but the Packers and EAA are not the traditional nonprofits that we're talking about here today, right? They are atypical.
Wait, they're different.
Yes, they are. And so always just wanted to actually get into it, and found the opportunity with the Oshkosh Area Community Pantry, and I've been there ever since. It's been 2.5 years now, so it's awesome.
That's That's pretty amazing. We want to send a quick shout out to Dick Kopinski over there at EAA. We did an episode with him a while back, and it was fantastic. Did you happen to get to meet any of those cool people that they have out there at EAA?
Yeah, I've met a lot of cool people. Yes, so the EAA folks bring in, of course, all of the aviation fanatics from around the globe, and so. Folks like Dierks Bentley, Ken Griffey Jr. I had Harrison Ford at my bar once, which was an interesting story.
What?
Yeah. Bruh. As a Han Solo fan, the fact that I've got him staring me at the face was incredible, and Indiana Jones for that matter, right? And I'm in charge of the event that he's at, and Harrison enjoys a beverage or two or many. And
he fits right into Wisconsin.
Yes, he does. He does. And so had the privilege of just kind of being around him. And right before he had to go on stage to do a couple other things, George Lucas, which that was mind-bogglingly cool. I'm also a nerd at heart. So, having all of these people surrounding me that I knew and loved as a kid, and now it was incredible. So, yeah, I've been really, really blessed to have been around a lot of cool people and see a lot of great things, and just being able to talk stories and do some different stuff. It's been great. It's been really, really great.
Oh, you know what? You are ramping up yourself for story time. Our story time, gosh, listeners, if you haven't figured out yet, story time is about to be fire in this episode.
We'll see. I don't know. It might be a choose your own adventure, Timber. We'll see what happens.
I'm going to choose several. I don't do the binary thing. If I can have multiples, I'm all about that.
Right.
All right. Okay, so let me ask you this then. So tell us, without, because I think we're going to come back to this a little bit later, share a little bit about what you're doing now.
Yeah. Thank you. So with the Oshkosh Area Community Pantry, we are an incredible place. And for all of the listeners that are out there that don't know anything about us, my first mission always is to say, I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours and hours on end. But until you come and see it, take a tour, see exactly what it is that we're doing, that's really the power with which we're doing here. And that's when you can see the power in action of the folks that we're helping and all of that. Timber, I know from your perspective too, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, but you were the same way. I mean, I was able to have you come out, take a tour, and, no matter what I say today, until you see it, that's when you know.
I was blown away. Like, I walked away. I talked about it for a week and told anybody that would listen about the pantry and how it was ran and the thoughtfulness, the strategy, the everything about it, the energy that was within it, the caring that the people who were volunteering there were putting into it, and the dignity and respect that was woven into the fabric of serving this population that needed this resource. I can't stress how amazing and how blown away I was. I encourage you, if you are out there and you want to understand how real, like, giving back to the community works and the way it should look, you need to go take this tour, because it blew me away.
Yeah. And you nailed it with the dignity side of things. And we're just true believers in the dignity of our guests. I mean, that will always be first and foremost, no matter what decision we make in that organization. It will always have the dignity of our guests come first and foremost, no matter what. And so with that, we just believe that we are going to create a barrier-free opportunity or reduce as many barriers as possible. Food insecurity is a tough topic, right? People are hungry. This community are in need. There's
Facts.
No question. And so let's not make it harder to get the things that you need. And so with that, how can we create an experience that is not typical? And so what I mean by that is we believe there's power in choice. We believe through that power of choice that folks retain their dignity. And so rather than having a traditional food pantry model, which as donations come into a food pantry, all those foods get collected and they put in a box, and that box is kind of a guest allotment that they're able to have. We don't subscribe to that thinking whatsoever. We want to create an experience. We want to create an avenue where folks are able to choose the foods that are best for them and their families. And so how do we do that? We virtually create our own grocery store. And so we like to compare ourselves to an Aldi, a Pick and Save, a Festival Foods, you name it. We like to create that style of opportunity for a guest to come in, select the foods that are best for them and their families. Who am I to tell you what's good enough for your family, right? That just doesn't work. And so come in, select the things that you actually want, and selfishly, it reduces waste by doing that, right? When you think about those traditional pantry models, you get that box home and maybe half, maybe a quarter of the food is stuff that you actually want, like, or know how to cook, prepare, use. And what happens with the rest of it? It either gets thrown out or it gets redonated. So we talk about that as the circle of life, for that poor can of garbanzo beans that just keeps coming back over and over and over. That's just the circle of life, right? Because it goes out, it comes back, it goes back out, it comes back. So let's just skip all that. Let's just get to the root of it. Pick what you want, because at the end of the day, it's only going to help you and it's going to help us.
Ooh, facts.
Yeah.
Okay. If you weren't doing... And the only reason I'm not going to press more questions about this now is because we're coming back to it.
We got later. A lot of it,
Yeah. If you weren't doing what you do professionally right now, what would you like to be doing?
Oh, man. So here's some fun stuff. I've spent an entire career in the hospitality fields, right? Food, beverage, large-scale events, all that kind of fun stuff. And the first thing I'll say is about the job that I have now. Because I was in that career for 20 plus years, I actually didn't think I was good at anything else. I didn't know that I could be good at anything else because I wasn't looking at any of those skills that I was building as transferable, right? And so for me, actually, to jump outside of the box and take the position that I am right now as the executive director of the pantry, it was a leap for me. And it was another one of those, as I leapt from Lambeau to EAA and then from EAA to this job, it was one of those things where I was either going to be really good or I was going to be really bad. And we're going to find out really quickly. And what I learned is that those skills were transferable. I can do a lot of things, which is really, really cool. And that was very enlightening for me. So when it comes to what else I would do, I know that it has to be in the realm of helping people, right? That's just been kind of my MO, this whole journey that I've been on. So that would have to be in some sort of nonprofit or something else as well. I'm having so much fun in nonprofits that it would have to be in some realm of helping somebody. However, I do have some dreams out there because we all have to dream, right?
Bruh. Facts.
I'll tell you a couple of them, and these are wild because, of course, I'm a hospitality guy. I'm a food and bev guy. One of my dreams, I don't know if you're familiar with the show Bar Rescue.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I love. There's good episodes, and then there's episodes where it really you're so frustrated with those owners. You're just like, you can't see that this is horrible.
Yes. Indeed. I love that show. I don't know why John Taffer and I are so close in our thinking, but I just love everything about that show. And truly the premise is just, going into some of these bars and bars and small restaurants and trying to fix them up, right? Correct some wrongs, put some processes in place, upgrade the food quality, all that kind of fun stuff. Man, would I love to be on that show. I'd love to be on John's team going around the country and doing that, just because I think it would be so cool to just go in, do some teaching, do some educating, but then see a cool product at the end, and hopefully it sticks. My other dream that I've always had, and I've had this for a long, long time, I've always wanted to open a supper club.
Ooh.
I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I've always wanted to open a supper club. There's just something about a traditional Wisconsin supper club I just love. I just love the community aspect of it. I love the different style of service that it is, right? You go to the bar, you get a drink, you look at the menu, you place your order, you hang out for a little while, then you get seated, have a fantastic meal. I love it. So we'll see in my life if that ever happens, but definitely a dream that's definitely out there. The last one I'll always say, and I use this as a joke, but I'm quasi-serious about it as well. I like to consider myself a pretty hands-on manager and doing things. So, I'll get up and, if there's a mess on the ground, I'll sweep it up or whatever. And, I'll have folks that'll say, oh, you don't have to do that. I'll do it. But my joke always with it is, don't worry, I'm just practicing for my retirement, because I'm going to go be a street sweeper at Disney, and I'm just going to do this for a living. I'm literally just going to go around and I'm going to pick up garbage. And I joke about it, and people laugh. They're like, ha, ha, ha. But think about how cool that is. Like, you're at Disney. You're going around. You're just picking up. You're keeping things clean. It's a mindless job. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be absolutely awesome.
And people are happy.
Bruh.
I like it. I might steal it from you.
Yeah.
I might be picking up garbage next to you.
Who knows?
Hey.
Yeah, who knows?
I'd like it better if I could drive a street sweeper.
I know.
I could do that all day.
See? Yeah. Does that mean you have aspirations of driving the Zamboni on the ice?
Yeah, no, me and me and Ice don't get along like that.
All right.
Yeah, no. I can't even say that I've actually gone to an ice event.
No kidding. No hockey, no figure skating, nothing.
No, none of that.
We got to get you to a hockey game. Do you like hockey?
I don't know.
All right.
Here's what I'm going to say. I have not watched enough hockey to make an informed decision on it.
Okay.
But, I'd be willing to go.
Okay.
I'd go to, what is it, like a Green Bay Gamblers game or something like that?
They're awesome. Yeah, they're awesome. It's
all
a
right,
good time.
Green Bay Gamblers, if y'all out there listening, why don't you invite my man Ryan and me to go to a Green Bay Gamblers game, and you know what? We'll talk about it here on the Kosh.
That's perfect. Done and done. I love it.
Okay. All right, you ready to jump into the first segment?
I'm ready.
Okay. The first segment is called What in the World is Going On With? And that is where we start with the phrase what in the world, and you tell us what is on your mind. So, Ryan, let's go.
Let's do it. Timber, what in the world is going on with food prices these days?
Bruh.
Facts.
What is absolutely going on with this? I could totally understand. Now, first and foremost, I don't claim to be an expert in food pricing and how it comes to be and where we are as a society and why people are making the decisions they're doing. I can only assume while they're doing it. But here's what I can say. During COVID time, the theory is, right, it's tough to get food. Supply chains are awful. Right, but we've kind of moved on. We're 3 years or 2 years, maybe a year for some, kind of past that. And how is it that we're still dealing with these crazy, insane food prices?
You know what? From what we're learning, they don't seem justified.
Right.
Because it's not. They can't say it's inflation anymore.
No.
Now it seems like we're teeter-tottering into that word known as greed.
Exactly.
Bruh.
And that's what I'm saying.
But it's starting to backfire.
Yeah, well, for good reason.
Right. Because I recently read something about like potato chips and like people have quit buying them.
Yeah.
Too expensive.
Exactly.
So now they're starting to price them back down to normal, but it was like, why did you have to do that in the first place?
100%.
Because now, here's my thing. I think it's hard. Once people get used to not doing something or utilizing something, it's hard to get them back.
Yeah, 100%. I think your key word there was greed, right? I mean, I think that's truly the root of it. People do what people do. And I think using COVID as an excuse to be able to raise some of the prices. Now, again, at that time, I get it. It was difficult to move things from place to place. We were off for a while, whatever. But we've settled down now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those supply chains should be open.
They're normal.
Exactly. And so why is it that we're still dealing with it? And the only real answer is follow the money, right? Especially when you're dealing with some of the grocery chains out there, some of the food suppliers that are out there that all narrow down to the top 4 in the entire U.S. It's just wild to me right now that people in communities throughout this country are dealing with high prices, which only in my business just makes things that much harder, right? We are dealing with food insecurity right now. It is prevalent in this community, and the food pricing is not helping anything. And what we're seeing is a lot of the folks that were traditionally on the bubble, right? Middle-income families or middle-income folks or kids coming out of college that were on the bubble, barely able to make it before, are right now in a situation where they can't because prices are high. Housing is through the roof. I mean, the housing market is crazy right now.
It is bonkers.
Bruh.
So you add all of these things together, especially at a time about a year ago when the federal government rolled back food share benefits on folks. It just created this massive boom in folks becoming more food insecure and putting them in situations where they have to now choose where to spend their dollars.
Perfect storm.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, food share, I think, is fine. It's been around for a long, long time. The government during COVID did some great things. They gave folks extra money. I think it's great. I think all of that was great. We knew the federal government couldn't fund that program for the long term. We knew it was going to happen. What we could argue, though, is the timing with which they decided to roll it back. Folks got used to, for 3 years, through almost 3.5 years, on, let's just say, a single person and a single person's income, got used to almost $350 a month in food share benefits, which is great. Go to the grocery store, $300 can actually do something. Roll that back now, same person is getting $20. So when you go to the grocery store with $20 in food share benefits, there's, especially in today's market, there's virtually nothing that you can buy.
No.
Right.
Not for $20.
So it's just this perfect storm of all of these things that are all happening.
$20 might be milk and cereal.
Yeah, exactly.
And
barely.
And some ramen noodles.
Yeah,
That's
barely.
it. Yeah, barely.
I mean, it was crazy during COVID time. We do this thing at the pantry every year where we'll go around and we'll do some food pricing because we've got to create an evaluation for the food that we've got coming in because we do everything in pounds. And so we will just take a lot of the pantry staples that are out there and we'll just go cross-check amongst all of the other grocery stores in town just to kind of get an average of food pricing out there for different items. And I'll never forget, we ended up going to Walmart and we were literally just looking for cereal, and it was a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch on the Walmart shelf for $11.
Bruh.
What?
Insane. Absolutely
$11.
Insane.
That
Absolutely
hurts my
insane.
soul.
Exactly. Like, it just should not happen. Now, again, that was a few years ago, but still, $11 for a box of cereal is not, that should not happen.
That's wrong.
That should not happen.
That's wrong.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm stunned. And look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the one that does the grocery shopping in my house, but I will say this. My wife keeps saying to me, hey, you haven't gone out there in a while. Because I used to be part of it. We used to go together all the time. Yeah. But during COVID was when I really stopped because they were like, only one person from the household should go. And we actually did what they said we should do, right? And so I lost touch with the pricing, but to this day, she's always saying to me, like, hey, you really don't know. Like, you should go and check it out for yourself so you can understand. And yeah, that right there says I really don't know.
It's wild. It's wild. And then you add that to the things that are actually good for people to buy, right? Your lean meats, your proteins, your produce. Even that is through the roof, right? And thank God we have great places like the farmers market that's happening today where you can go buy local, and even when you're buying local, you can buy it for a cheaper price. Thank God we have places like the Oshkosh Food Co-op, we have Wagner Market. We've got all these different options for foods, right? So you can really kind of shop around and find the best prices for things. But it's just insanity. It's just absolutely insanity that, 4 years after COVID, we're still dealing with high prices and follow the money, right? It's down to that root cause, in my opinion.
That is definitely a hardcore what in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my weeks, I had multiple what in the worlds. There's multiple things that happened to me this week. So I was like, what should my what in the world be? But I think I'm going to go with the big one. All right. So what in the world is going on with Biden dropping out of the presidential race?
Oh, man.
Woo!
Yeah.
Bruh.
There is feelings about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's my thing. I like it. I think it's a bold move. I think it's brave. I think it was something. I don't think it's something we ever thought we would see in our lifetime.
I think there's a lot of things going on right now that we never would thought we would see in our lifetime.
Right, and that's one.
Yeah, and that's one.
That to see the step down. Now I know there was an extraordinary amount of pressure for it to happen, but it happened.
It happened,
and there's multiple ways I feel about it. But at the end of the day, I was actually kind of anti it. Yeah. Right, I was like, I think he should push through, blah, 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 blah. But now that it has happened, I think it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant to watch the other party or his party get so energized by it.
Yeah.
Like they crazy.
Yeah.
Like they ready to, and things are happening now.
Yep.
And you can tell because the tone has changed, right? And the way the tone has changed is the other side of the aisle has all of a sudden gotten very mean and defensive because they see now that this ain't no cakewalk.
Right.
And I am here for all of it.
Yeah, it's wild. Just all of this is completely wild right now. I think you're right. I think the other piece for the Democrats, I think I just saw either this morning or yesterday, Obama came out and endorsed Kamala. I think that probably was maybe the last piece of the puzzle for the Democrats at this point to really solidify that nomination.
Yes.
And so I do think you're right. I mean, I think the Democratic Party has just unified around this decision. And I know Biden was facing a lot of criticism. However, Stable Joe certainly had to make the decision for himself, I hope. And I think in his mind, he was doing what he thought was going to be best for the country in the long run, or at least for his party in the long run.
I think it was a mix.
Yeah.
I actually think it was what was best for the country, the party, and for him personally, because I'm not 100% sure if Joe was all right.
Yeah.
Like my man's been catching COVID.
Yep.
I think my man was sick.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we'll never know how sick Joe might have been or if he wasn't getting an opportunity to really heal.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that played a part that we'll never know.
Yep.
Do I think he was too old? It was baked in. I didn't have no problems with my man being old.
Right. Yeah, initially no, right?
Yeah. I didn't have no problems with him being old.
Yeah.
But, thinking about it now and seeing the difference between what the energy felt like with him on the ticket and now seeing what the energy is like with Kamala taking over as head of the ticket or eventually, officially.
Yeah.
Because we're before that.
Yeah.
I'm sure by the time Kosh listeners will listen to it, it'll be all old hat.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, it's night and day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's beyond night and day.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting, and we can't predict the future and how it's going to go, but that first debate between Trump and Kamala.
Oh, you think one's going to happen?
I do think it'll happen. I think it has to happen.
Well, it's supposed to happen. I'm not sold that it's going to happen.
I think it has to. I think both parties need it. I do. I think both parties need it. That is going to be a throwdown. It's going to be a throwdown, and I think it's going to be very interesting how it lands. I hope it happens. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, put it on Netflix, just right next to the Tyson fight coming up. Right, put it on Netflix. Do the things. Let's have everybody see it. I think it's going to be awesome.
Oh, I agree. I will say this right now without doubt. I think it will be the most watched presidential debate in history.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Because people will be watching.
100%.
Everyone.
100%.
There will be nowhere to hide from that.
No. Nope.
It's not going to change any minds.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The bubble voters, that'll be interesting to see. There will be some that'll flip-flop back and forth. But I think if you're a true Democrat or you're a true Republican, you're gonna stay the course, no matter who you are.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't get the feeling there's many bubble voters.
You don't think so?
No. I think people just kind of know where they're going to lean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It would be different if our politics still talked about politics.
Yeah.
Like we talked about like stuff going on around the world and whose policies, what's our international policies, this, that. We don't talk about any of that anymore. Yeah. Now it's all personality stuff.
Yeah.
And so therefore, it's like watching reality TV. You know who you like and you know who you don't like.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
And even if there's a villain, if you like the villain, you like the villain. And I'm not sure any of that. No matter what happens in that debate, I don't know if anything is happening in that debate to truly move someone from where they were at.
Yeah, fair. Very fair.
you know.
Who do you think's going to take the VP spot? Who's going to be the running mate?
I don't know, but I have, from watching it, there's some people that I'm interested in seeing.
Yeah.
And the governor of Minnesota is interesting to me because all the interviews I've seen him do, he's got some smackdown about him. He's nice with it.
Yeah.
And I kind of like Pete Buttigieg.
I'm glad you went there.
Yeah. No, I really think if it was me, he's the top pick direction I would go for VP if I'm Kamala.
I'm with you 100%. And just think about that for a second. Think about representation in the White House at that point.
Oh, yeah. But
holy moly.
Yeah, but then again, I want to also be realistic. And, it's a shame we have to have these demographic conversations, but this is America, and we got to also, as much as we cool with a lot of things, there's a whole lot of other things we're not.
Yeah.
And it makes me question if we can put that much diversity in one ticket at the same time.
It is a massive pendulum swing, right? So I guess if you're going to shoot for the moon, right?
Well, I am kind of a firm believer on that, right? Because, hey, let's just be honest. There's going to be some people who, which we already have this. We have people who vote against their own interests all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And because they're single issue voters, whether it's guns or women's right to choose, we've got these single issue voters and they're voting on that instead of actually voting on their pocketbook, their household, how they live, the demographic in which the socioeconomic demographic in which they fall into. Yeah. They're not voting for any of that.
Right.
They're voting on this one issue.
Yep.
Whatever it is. And, and one of these issues is going to be if I can vote for a woman,
Yep.
Now, and to be fair, I say that over being black.
Sure.
Right? Because we might have took some of the sting out of that one because I'm not going to lie. I never thought I would see a black president in my lifetime, but I have.
Yeah.
So I'm all right.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the culture thing that's going to come into play. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I think the woman thing weighs heavier. Yeah. There's so many people I have seen out there who are like, I don't believe a woman can be our president. Even though other countries have had women, big countries, have women leaders all the time.
Right. Tell that to Angela Merkel right now, right?
Right.
Come on.
She was one of the greatest German chancellors of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might just need a female president because we might get some stuff done.
Well, I don't think we might. I think it's time.
Yeah.
I think it's time that we do all the things. It will be great when this is no longer a conversation.
Yeah. Just becomes the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm thinking we're getting closer.
Yeah. Yep. I think we're in probably the best position, or it's in the best position to happen now more than ever.
I do agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Hillary could have been great, but Hillary had a lot that came along with it as well.
Yeah. She just, the greatest advantage in this whole thing, because one of the complaints I keep hearing over and over is we don't know her.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. That might be the greatest advantage of all time because when you knew her, you didn't like her.
Right.
Because that was why we didn't got the last her.
Yeah.
So maybe there's not knowing her and her getting a chance to reframe her how she wants to right now for these 3 months will be humongous.
Wasn't it incredible that one of the first stops that she had was coming right here to Milwaukee, after the RNC?
Oh, wait. You mean that horrible city?
Oh, man.
That horrible city, Milwaukee?
Horrible city, Milwaukee. Come on now. Come on.
I can't believe he said it.
I think it was genius. Now, I haven't watched that speech that she gave, so I'll form my own opinion. But what I'm hearing is it was just straight fire. I mean, it was incredible.
Oh, yeah. She's on fire.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Right now, and whatever is coalescing, this is different. I've had more invitations because there's connections involved. There's the historical, the HBCU connection for her. There's the Divine Nine, historical black fraternities and sorority connection for her. Like, she's got a coalition that's built that is ready to move mountains. And I don't think there's a whole demographic of America who does not understand the power in that. Yeah. They don't pay attention. Their spaces, their workspaces are siloed. They're not asking enough questions. They haven't diversified enough. They're not going to understand the power of this diverse coalition that's about to come together to really move this needle. Yeah. It's going to be insane.
Don't forget to go vote.
Facts. Okay. Well, I think we nailed that. All right, next segment. The next segment is called 21 Questions. This is my opportunity to ask you some questions. Not 21 of them, but you know what? Because these are such great questions, they might elicit 21 answers. So, Ryan, you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. What are you grateful for?
So, first and foremost, I have not been able to do this journey of life by myself. So there have been so many mentors, so many family members, my grandparents, my wife, all of these people, my mom, all of these people around me that have truly shaped the person that I am. And for me, I'm just so grateful for all of those influences in my life to help guide, not handhold, teach, allow me to fail, allow me to make my own decisions, but at the same time be there when I needed them. And that is just, I could not be more grateful for the people that I've been able to surround myself with. It's really been it's a great journey, and I couldn't do it without any of them.
What motivates you?
Well, no big shocker here. Really, the power of being able to help people, that's first and foremost. But really, for me, knowing that the small piece that I'm contributing to is actually making a difference, hopefully making a difference, or at least knowing that in everything that I've done in all of my careers and associations and the people that I've been around, knowing that I've hopefully been able to, be there for others, touch people's lives in other ways, hopefully make a small mark in this world, in doing something. And for me, being able to go out every day just to do my teeny tiny part in it is what gets me up to go do it every day.
What grounds you?
Okay, this is hands down 100% my wife. She can pull me out of the clouds. She can pull me out of the dirt. She can level set my expectations. She can put me in my place. She can teach me new things. She is another incredible human being who has opened my eyes to a lot of things, and she truly grounds it. Like when I just going on and on and on and on about something, who knows? I mean, she'll be the first person to look at me and say, "Oh, okay, I get it. Thank you. Thank you for telling your story. Like, come on back down. Let's think about what we're going to do next." We've been together 10 years, married 3, she just knows me. She just knows everything that I need, want to do. Just incredible person. So if she's listening, hopefully she does. Thank you.
From what I understand, usually the spouse always listens.
Always.
More so than the person who actually is the guest.
Yes. Well, and she's probably going to be the one that when she does listen, she'll come to me and she'll say, "Why did you even say that? Like, why'd you go there?"
Bruh.
Facts.
I know.
They keep it 100.
Yeah, exactly.
What does success look like to you?
It's a tough one. Success, obviously, is different for everybody, right? Everybody's version of success looks different, and I think that's the piece that is so exciting about what success is. For me, I have always been in life a goal setter, and so you would think that success would just, can I achieve the goal? But for me, it's not that goal. It is, maybe it's a goal, but maybe that goal is completely different, and so it's the journey of how you got there. And I think, for me, that's just been the story of my life, and I'm sure it's the story of a lot of lives that are out there. Did I ever think I'd wind up in this chair in this exact moment today doing this? No. But think of the journey that has put me here. And for me, that has been successful. Now, that does not mean my life is perfect in any way, nor have all the decisions that I've made in life been perfect in any way. But even through that, that's been part of the journey. And it's still successful because you've made a mistake, or you did something wrong, or you said something stupid, or you whatever. It's that journey of how you've been able to grow from it then. So for me, that's what success looks like.
What irritates you?
Okay. Now we're getting to it. I got a couple of them. The first is I am not a fan of loud open mouth chewers. Specifically, folks who slurp. You know, you're having that soup or whatever and you get the just. Now, I also understand that in some cultures, that is a good, positive thing. It means that you're enjoying your meal. No, I can't do it. It makes me cringe. Literally makes me cringe. And the second one is, again, I spent a career in hospitality. And so obviously, you know, it's drilled in me that the customer is always right no matter what. And for those that are in hospitality or they work with people, they know that that's not necessarily always the case, right?
Ooh, facts.
And so when having to deliver the no, which is no, you can't do this, or no, it's against our policy, or whatever. The other thing that irritates me are the folks that are quote unquote listening, but not actually listening. They just want to talk and be heard. And when you try to explain your position and why they or we or whatever can't do what you want them to do, it doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. They just go. They just keep going because it's about their point, whatever. And a lot of times it just ends up being like a sit back and just let it go. Just, but yeah. Not having that overall active listening is something that's interesting to me.
What scares you?
Spiders. Hate spiders. Absolutely.
Bruh.
Absolutely hate them. The other thing than the creepy crawly spiders is truly a failing, and not only failing myself, but failing other people. I'd like to consider myself to be a people person out in the community doing things, and I don't want to fail, and it's tough to fail, and I don't like it. But it's certainly something that weighs on my mind no matter what I'm doing, is that I feel like I'm going to fail at something, and that it's a lot. It's a lot to handle, and hopefully it doesn't happen often. But when it does, it's one of those things that you have to pick yourself up and move on from. But the idea of failing it's not fun. Nobody likes that.
What recharges your soul?
I am blessed. My family all have this spot up north in northern Wisconsin. So we've got a cottage that's on a lake. It's in the middle of the woods. And for me, the time to go up there, very, very limited technology, and just be there, be in the moment, surrounded by nature, and just having no plans, doing nothing. That's the moment for me where I can actually center myself, reset, recharge, and get ready to come back and tackle day-to-day life stuff. I absolutely love it up there. It's an incredible place. It really is. It is healing for me up there. I've coined the term power sitting. I can power sit with the best of them, and that's literally just sitting in a chair, staring off, doing absolutely nothing but just taking it all in. I love doing it. I could do it for hours.
How do you define love?
All right. My wife and I love junkie TV. Are you familiar with Pastor Cal on Married at First Sight?
No.
But
I know the show.
Yep.
But I've never watched an episode.
You should, especially if you love really junky reality TV. It's the best. But Pastor Cal said something that really hit with me once. And most of the time, he separates the difference between being in love versus love, right? And most people are in love before they know it. And his take on it, which I absolutely agree with, love truly is just the commitment of wanting to fulfill someone else's needs over your own, and to ensure that you do everything you can to fulfill their needs. And I love that. I love that take on it, because let's get away from the scary L word love, and let's talk about what the root of it is, which is really just wanting to be with somebody and committing yourself to fulfilling their needs. I love it. Now, I say that. My wife is certainly listening, and I also know that I'm not perfect at that either. I'm not perfect at that. I try, and I do everything I can, and I certainly feel like I grow every time that I'm not perfect at it. So it's a process, right? It's also one of those seedlings that you've got to grow, and it's got to blossom, and then after it blossoms, it dies, and then you've got to start over again. And, so to me, I think that's what it is. It's all about that commitment.
What is the most memorable life lesson you've learned from a guardian, a parent, or a mentor?
Two of them. First and foremost, always take accountability. First and foremost, no matter what. Whether that's good, whether that's bad, no matter what decision you've made in life, take accountability for it. Obviously, you've made that decision. There was a reason you made that decision. If it was a mistake, fine, whatever. Take accountability for it. Just own it. Own it, learn from it, move on. And I think I've done that most of my life, or at least I hope I have. The biggest one, or the second one, is saying yes to opportunities. And I learned this throughout my time in my work journey. I was one that no matter when there was a time that was presented to me to go try or do something, I just said yes. I never said no. I just said yes. And there were certainly times that I didn't want to do it, right? Like I didn't want to be on a 3-week travel trip to Omaha, Nebraska, right? But I did it. I said yes. And man, I'm so grateful I did. So I always love saying, just say yes. Go try it. Go do it. You never know what you're going to find at the end of it. Just say yes. It's just so much simpler. Just say yes.
All right. Okay, I got one new question. We're trying out for the Kosh.
Okay.
If you could have your life's walkout music,
oh man,
what would it be?
Oh man. I would have to say this is what's going to amp me up and hopefully amp up the crowd as I'm coming through. It's got to be the Stone Cold Steve Austin opening music. You know what I'm talking about?
The glass break.
The glass break. Talk about hype up, right? Like that's what I want. That's what I want. I want that hype up feel.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I did not see that coming.
No? Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, here's what's more fun. What did you think I was going to say?
I didn't have a pre-notion, but what I didn't see was
that?
Well, just someone actually pulling a theme from wrestling.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about because I love wrestling.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
You should listen to this week's episode of The Kosh because that was the topic of the week.
Really?
Professional wrestling.
Fantastic.
Oh, and my guest, big shout out to Juan. He knows wrestling.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Do you know Dylan Postel from town?
Wait. Dylan.
Dylan Postel, former WWE wrestler. He is now, I think, with AEW wrestling.
No.
You should.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling I need to.
Cool guy to talk to.
Might need to be on the Kosh.
You should. Might need to be on the Kosh. If you're a wrestling fan, he has story. He has a book out right now as well that you can pick up and read, or I have a copy for you. I can bring it to you.
Let's do that.
Really cool stories. Yeah.
Okay, then we let's make that connection happen.
Yeah.
That sounds like an episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Next segment. The next segment is called Word Association. This is where I'm going to say some words, and you're going to tell us what comes to your mind. We have a great tradition here on the Kosh. We always start off with the same word. That word is the word of family. Unity, love, diversity. That word is food.
First of all, I love this word, 100%. My first word that comes to mind is just foodie. My wife and I are foodies. We love to travel around and we love to find all of the hole-in-the-wall places because those are the places that you find some of the best foods.
Facts.
And so even when we travel, we try to just talk with the locals and say, where do you go? We need that. We just one real quick story. So we did a travel opportunity a couple of years ago where we were able to do a London to Scotland 10-day adventure. And while in Scotland, which if you've never been to Scotland, you should go. I was blown away. The people there, we talk about Midwest nice. Holy cow. I mean, the Scottish people were just incredible, wanting to show you, tell you their history, all the things. Anyway, so obviously haggis is a big thing in Scotland, and I maybe shouldn't sicken you with the details. But
No, I need to know what haggis
right,
is.
so-
I don't know what haggis
so
is.
haggis is like a mixture of it's like sheep, like lung and hearts, and all these things that are kind of put together, kind of in a ground meat kind of concoction, and then it's wrapped in, I don't know if it's intestine, or I think it's intestine, and then they bake it or they cook it. Now, sounds awful, right? Sounds absolutely awful. But of course, we're in Scotland. We've got to try this, right? It was awesome. It was awesome. It was one of the best things I think I've ever had. So anyway, when I think about food, you got to think about finding those little sweet honey holes of things and places that are just off the beaten path. You got to find those.
You got a local one?
Well, I would say my favorite place right now, I don't know about hole in the wall. Maybe. I'm hoping that they can spruce up a little bit more traffic. Have you been to La Baja yet here in town? It's a Mexican restaurant. It's on, goodness, right next to Neagle's.
No. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes, I like them.
It is traditional. They're fantastic. They're really, really awesome.
Yes.
So I would say right now, probably hole in the wall, because I think they need to boost a little traffic.
Yes.
So I think we should all support them.
It's low key.
It is low key. Great little place. Awesome tacos. However, I've also been super up. Now, this is not probably hole in the wall, but the Hangar here in town over the last few years, I mean, they have just really gotten better and better and better and better. So another really, really, really great place. So, yeah.
Okay. Cocktail or beer?
Yes. The answer is always yes.
We got a favorite? What's our favorite?
I would say, okay, so my journey in cocktails have been all over the board. I'm traditionally a whiskey bourbon guy. My favorite right now is just a Buffalo Trace and Diet, which I absolutely love. So just bourbon and diet. So nothing overly exotic for me. I'm a huge craft beer guy, though. Love craft beer. Love going to breweries all over the place to check out new and exciting beers. I'm on a couple of them right now. I've found for the last few months, Drecker Brewing Company out of North Dakota are doing some really awesome things. So if you like sours, or if you like beers with lactose in them or anything like that, they've got some just awesome lineups of stuff there. Surly Brewing Company out of Minnesota. Super, super good. Anytime I'm in the cities, I got to take a stop to Surly. Actually, great sort of mini story about Surly. So when I was working at EAA, we had this event called Hops and Props every year, still happening, I believe. And we would always feature a craft brewer to come in to do a beer and dinner pairing. And so this was back when Surly was just getting their feet on the ground. And I'll never forget working with the distributor. Surly was not in Wisconsin yet. But working with Surly and us and some distributorships, we were able to actually get them to come to Wisconsin, bring their beers into Wisconsin, and then also they did their rollout party while they did Hops and Props for us that year. So they came to us and they only featured their beer by us first, and then they rolled it out to the masses in Wisconsin.
Wow.
So that was cool. It was really, really cool. So anyway, fantastic brew there. Honestly, if it's wet, I'll drink it. So here we are.
Bruh.
And I can agree with that statement. Shop local.
Yes, 100%. Got to support shopping local. Here's what I'll say about what anybody who's opening and is a local shop, restaurant, whatever, those are some of the hardest working people in the entire wide world. They are selfless, because here's why. And I see this now more than ever in the nonprofit side of things. You know, you got your big corporations that'll give if you ask. You know, maybe they'll give you a gift card. They'll do something, right? But think about the last time a nonprofit went to one of your local shops or local restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
100% every single time, 0 questions asked, they give back.
They give something.
100%.
All the time.
100%.
All the time.
All the time. Some of the hardest working, selfless people I have ever known in my lifetime. We need to support them. There are a lot of great places that are like there. I'll highlight a couple that I know for sure. I think this gets talked about a lot on your show, but that just means they're awesome. Caramel Crisp down in City Center.
They get mentioned quite a bit.
Oh, man. They're awesome. Shonda's doing awesome down there. The smells that come out of that place, holy moly. Popcorn, sweets, treats, holy cow. It's good stuff. Another one, so this is, if you're shopping down at the farmer's market, go head up Olden Organics. They're out of Ripon. Fantastic farm. Give back a ton in the community. And the only reason I can say that is because they help us a ton at the pantry. They're one of our farm partnerships that we have. And Tracy is constantly donating things to us, and it's fresh local produce. It's coming right into our pantry. And so if you have the opportunity, you've got to go check them out at the farmers market. They're really, really awesome. And then adventure games. I mean, come on. I'm a gamer. I'm a nerd. I love board games. I love sitting down to play cards, all that kind of fun stuff. Adventure games, a cool spot. Go hang out, buy some games.
Concert.
Love live music. Love live music. I think concerts they're just a fun release. It's party, it's energy. It's also just a creative release. It's all these things, right? Love live music. I am traditionally a rocker. I am not much of a country guy. I like other genres, of course, but I'm in the rock genre mostly. Favorite all-time band as it stands today, right now. Don't know why. Styx. I am a huge Styx fan. Always have been. Started as a young age. I've seen them, I can't even tell you, 12, 13 times in concert now. Love them. Absolutely love them. And I have to. They're getting older. I've got to see them before they retire and hang it up. I had a question for you on this one, though.
Okay.
Because I've got an embarrassing one.
Oh.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
Okay. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But if I am correct, it was a New Edition concert down in Milwaukee.
Holy cow.
Yeah. If I'm correct, it was New Edition. I mean, young New Edition.
Yeah.
Like, Candy Girl New Edition.
Whoa.
But I'm not even sure they were the headliner. But I want to say it was like New Edition. It was like Full Force. Like it was some straight 80s stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. The first concert I can actually remember was going to a Janet Jackson concert.
What? How did you just start off with that?
Oh, yeah. It was serious, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some serious right there.
Wow.
Yeah, because, Janet Jackson now, we all love Janet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so she did not disappoint is what I will say.
wow. Okay. Well, that just blew mine out of the way, so that's fantastic.
I want to hear about the embarrassment.
Here's the embarrassment. I am a product of the 90s, of course. I was born in the 80s, but I'm a product of the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. First concert ever, Backstreet Boys in Milwaukee.
Bruh.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give you the face a
Right.
little bit.
That's what I'm saying. For that to be number one, not only was it Backstreet Boys as a headliner, but Nick Carter opened for them.
Oh.
Bruh.
Come on.
Ooh, was it a good concert?
I mean, I think I was probably one of 10 males that were there at the time.
You didn't even know that you were in the right place at the right time.
I was, no doubt. Yeah. If I only knew then what I know now. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's my unfortunate first concert ever.
There's so many questions.
I've made up for it. So I've made up for it.
Well,
since.
I don't know. Look, I know people right now as adults, as grown ladies, grown women who they still go to those concerts. Every time they come to town, they're going to it.
Yeah.
And I always give them a little bit of the side eye. Like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Terrible.
Maybe I don't understand the connection because I never rocked it.
Sure.
And it wasn't playing in my tape deck.
Yeah. Yep. I get it.
But, I'm not going to knock it.
See, this is why I lead with, it was an embarrassing story.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. I'm not going to judge.
Yeah, I get it.
Streaming,
Netflix. I'm a binger. I can't leave it alone when I start a season. I got to plow through it, and I have to do it as quickly as possible. Gets me in trouble. No matter what, I'm streaming. It could be a 10 season long thing. I'm gonna plow through it in a week if I can. Like I'm gonna do it, and it gets me in trouble because all of a sudden it'll be like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I gotta get to bed. So yeah, Netflix, huge. My favorite thing to do Sundays is like house reset day, right? So Sunday is also laundry day. So it's Ryan's laundry and Netflix time. So while I'm doing laundry, Netflix is on. I'm binging something, usually a crime doc. I love crime docs, but also just, I'll plunk around in a lot of different things. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Community.
Community is awesome. Community for me is really this melting pot that we have here. It is a diverse background of folks, and it is supposed to be a place where everybody comes together and shines in this spot, no matter where you are. And it should be a collection of folks that are like-minded. So we're hoping to get there more and more and more every day. But community to me is not only being able to get that collection of groups of people together to do some good stuff, but then give back and help others as much as possible.
All right. I threw that in there.
Yeah, you did.
I subbed it out for entrepreneurship. But if you would like to do entrepreneurship
scares the living bejesus out of me. So to be an entrepreneur, you have to be bold. You have to have ingenuity, right? I mean, they are the dreamers. They are the shakers. They are the people that get it done. But man, does that scare the living daylights out of me. And I'll tell you why. For me, I feel like I'm a pretty good manager of others people's monies.
Okay.
But when it has to be mine, holy cow, that would freak me out.
Feels different.
Freak me out. It feels way different. Way different.
Last word. Diversity.
I would say we are all different, right? And through that difference is what actually brings us together, or should bring us together. And it's the same concept as community. This is a diverse community that we live in. We are expanding that diversity every day. I've spoken with some friends from World Relief. I mean, we're going to have another 500 refugee families that'll be in Oshkosh in this next year.
Yep, that is true.
And we, as a community, always, I think, need to do better in not only being diverse, but understanding that diversity. And again, you learn things when you actually sit down with people and you have a conversation and you dream the dreams and you talk the life. We got to do better. We always have to do better. And whether we like it or not, it's here. And it's only going to get more diverse.
Facts. Okay. Next segment. It's called the Kosh Hidden Gems. This is your opportunity to share a hidden gem with the Kosh listeners. And the cool thing about that is maybe it's something that you don't think a lot of people know about, or maybe it's something that everybody knows about, but they don't know these details about it. Yeah. So, Ryan, what's your hidden gem?
So, selfish plug. First and foremost, I have to start with the Oshkosh Area Community Pantry. It is a hidden gem, and the reason I say that, born and raised townie right here in Oshkosh, always knew that the pantry existed, had no idea to what extent it existed until I took the position that I have now. And I realized that was a problem. In my first year, I was chatting with the team, and we had to re-engage with this community again. For being a townie and thinking that I know a lot about this community, I just had no idea all of the different programs that the community pantry is doing. I did not know the store existed in the way that it did, the numbers of people that are being helped on a daily basis. And so, first, that's a hidden gem in this community, knowing that there is a place for people who are facing food insecurity, which, as I mentioned before, barrier-free, meaning there are no income requirements whatsoever. We are completely barrier-free. We are not going to ask you your income level, meaning we truly believe that food insecurity can happen to anybody at any time. We are all one decision or one thing away from being food insecure. And so having a place that you can go, that if you just need a quick week's worth of groceries, or you need extended periods of time where you need help in groceries, we want to be that place. And so have to plug us first, because I had no clue until I really got in the role that I did and started now this journey of community re-engagement, getting out there, talking about us, inviting people in, showing the power that this place has. That had to be first and foremost for me. Some other ones that I absolutely love. Again, I'm a foodie, so we won't get into the great pizza debate because I'll just give you mine.
Oh no, let's do that.
Let's do that. Get into the great pizza debate.
We don't have to get into a debate about it, but I mean, you gotta look. Provide your wisdom.
My favorite all-time pizza in this community is Ratch and Debs. Ratch and Debs Pizza. There are a lot of folks that go West End. There's a lot of folks that will go Zeroni's. There are a lot of folks that'll go Dr. Benzi's. Ratch and Debs hits home for me. I don't know, the sauce creation that they have going on. It's got just that little extra spice to it. The toppings are just crazy enormous, and you get a ton of them. I mean, you're caked in cheese. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin, for goodness sakes. If I don't like cheese.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me.
Yeah.
So Dr. Benzi's to me and Ratch and Debs are like, they from what I hear, legend from pizza legend.
Yeah.
They were in business together and they separated.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking they're similar.
Yep.
I love their pizzas, but it's too cheesy.
Yeah.
By the body doesn't like it.
My wife is the same way. So I end up having to do Ratch and Debs when she's traveling, so that way I can get it myself.
That's fair.
Yeah, it is fair.
Well, I'm gonna throw the pizza gauntlet down.
Okay.
And I'm going to give a humongous shout out to my people over there at Pizza King. Pizza King over there by the Old Family Video.
Yes.
Not just any Pizza King, because there's a difference.
There is. Yep.
There is a difference.
Yep.
Those people over there are love.
Yeah.
They are love. That pizza is fire. And they've got a passion for making a great pizza.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Take and bake, too.
That's the well. They'll cook it
They'll
for
cook
you.
it. They
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
Or they'll let you take it.
Yeah,
God,
but
love
they're just solid.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that you threw down the gauntlet.
I
on
had
the pizza
to.
debate.
I had to. Yep.
I'm feeling that. Okay, so at this time we're gonna take a quick commercial break.
Did you know there are children in the Fox Valley in need of hearing aids, but their parents struggle to provide them because of lack of insurance or high copays? I am Juliette Sturkins, audiologist and board member of Here in the Fox Cities, and proud that this small local nonprofit organization has helped fund hearing aids for some 30 kids. Your donation would help more children hear. Visit hereinthefoxcities.org to learn more and to see their smiles. Every child deserves to hear.
All right. I'm going to throw it out there once again. Nonprofits, if you are out there listening and you would like a commercial on the Kosh, you should talk to me because I do nonprofit commercials for free. And if you are a business and you would like to have a commercial on the Kosh, because the Kosh is going to be rolling out some new commercials here soon. We've been talking to some people. We're going to roll some stuff out. And, since we do long form podcasting, we need more breaks. So they're also helping me. So there's going to be we're going to put some new commercials out here on the Kosh very soon. I'm pretty excited about that. Also, at this time, I just want to take a moment again and mention that the People's Podcast is sponsored by Sunken Paddle Cider Works, making the best of it. Sunken Paddle, we appreciate you out there for A, creating a cider called the Kosh, B, all of the great things that you're doing in our community. And I want to always suggest, since we create these podcasts on the weekend, if you are listening and you don't have anything to do with your Saturday, you need to go stop down there to Sunken Paddle and have, taste their variety of ciders. They are open from noon to 5. It's a free tasting, so you get to go through the entire menu. And if you haven't done it yet, it's fantastic. It's such a good time. Have you done it yet?
I have not done it yet, but now you've just inspired me that maybe after this I might need to.
Yeah,
so.
I'm thinking, you and the wife, this would be a great field trip. Go down there, taste all the things. Big shout out to Doug and Spencer for what they're doing out there. But it's just I've taken, every time I have new people that I'm hanging out with on the weekend, I'm like, hey, if it's within the time frame, I'm like, I've got a surprise for you. And then I roll them down there and they're like, oh my God, this is insane. Yeah. And it's just such a good time. And not only are you tasting, but you're getting the history. So I just think it's fantastic. But now it is time for what is my favorite segment on the Kosh. And let me tell you, the Kosh is going to be going through some transformations here in the future, in the near future. which won't sound that near because this episode might not get released for a while, but it will be. But we're gonna be upping our game a little bit. We're gonna be transforming some things here on the Kosh, but that does not change the fact that our favorite segment here on the Kosh is called Story Time, and that is the opportunity for our guests to share a story with us, any story of their choosing. And me and Ryan were already talking this out a little bit before we started recording, and that means Ryan's got stories.
I got a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. All right, so let me kick them off by doing a couple of just like in the moment right now stories. And these are some stories that have just really been impactful for me. First, only just because of the work that we're doing, but it also just expresses the need that's in this community. So the first one I'll say is we were made privy to, so at the pantry, we have this program. It's called our school pantry program, which for us, we will on a weekly basis send easy to serve snacks. So granola bars, fruit bars, and then fresh fruit, apples, oranges, and bananas into the school district every week. Right now, about 30 schools are being helped. Yes, that's all of them. And the guidance counselors and the social workers in each of the schools will help identify the kiddos who are in need, and will distribute those snacks. And so the story actually came to us through that program, and I think it talks about the power of what it is that we're doing here. They described the story of a kiddo who received their allotment of food. The social worker obviously noticed that they were hungry, and so the kid indicated that they were, and got the granola bar, got the fruit bar, got the orange. And the kid literally sat and held the orange in their hand and looked at it for a while. And after a while, the guidance counselor went to the kiddo and was like, what's going on? You know, you can have your orange. And the kid looked at the social worker and said, "This is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life." And that hit home, because what she soon discovered is that kiddo had never seen a fresh piece of fruit before. They had only ever had canned peaches, oranges, whatever, had no idea that that's what a fresh orange was supposed to look like, and said it was the most beautiful thing that they've ever seen in their life. And that hit home hard. Not only one, because it's kids related, but two, just knowing not only the power of what we're trying to do, but also the fact that there are still folks out there that are struggling in such a way that are not used to having fresh fruits, vegetables, meats, those types of things. That's impactful. That's impactful. And that's just something that I can't take for granted ever. So that was one. The second one, and again, this is work related, we discovered a situation in our pantry where a kiddo had just been delivered the message that the family didn't have enough money for the kiddo to have a birthday cake for their birthday. And so luckily one of our volunteers overheard that and knew that we had some cake mix in the back. And so went in the back, came out with the cake, sang happy birthday, did the whole thing, changed that moment for that kiddo's life, right? But what that inspired was us making sure that no kid felt like they couldn't have a birthday cake on their birthday. And so we've partnered with some organizations, both some other nonprofits as well as AmCor, that help put together these birthday kits for us at the pantry. And so anytime it's a kiddo's birth month, they're able to go in, they're able to grab their kit. It has everything they need for their birthday party. It's got the cake, the candles, the card, you name it, it's there. And again, that's just another great, insightful, powerful piece of the work that we're trying to do and help folks in our community. So from a work perspective, I really wanted to share those because that's the power of what's happening right now. And that's the power of some of the work that we're doing. On a different note, I've got a couple others, and these are a little different. So at my time with working at Lambeau Field, one of the jobs I was able to do for a little time was work in the team dining area. And team dining for me was a place, obviously, the entire team, they gather, they eat, their nutritionists tell us what they can't have. I mean, they're athletes. They're supposed to be at the pinnacle or peak of their career. And so they trust me to try to make and deliver on that. And got to meet some really, really cool players, some awesome people. That was during the transition from Favre to Rodgers, so I got to see that whole thing shake out, which was interesting to see in the locker room. But I will say, just having the connections of folks and how it brought two of my worlds together, had a lot of interaction with the coaches, got to spend some good time with Mike McCarthy and others. Mike McCarthy was also a pizza snob, so when he was hungry at night, he would ship us out to go find his favorite pizza and not tell his wife.
Bruh.
But it was really cool. Left Lambeau, ended up coming to EAA. While I was at EAA, setting up a catering event where EAA had a B-17 that they took on tour, and they flew all around the country offering tours for folks. But then one of the things that they'd like to do is give back to veterans. And so they would invite veterans, especially those that were on B-17s, to be able to take a journey and take a flight. And I'll never forget, I'm setting up this event, the B-17's there, we've got this whole crew. They were actually able to put together an entire B-17 crew for probably the last time in their lives to take a flight in their actual positions that they had at in the plane. Super, super cool thing. What ended up bringing my two worlds together, though, was crazy, was Mike McCarthy's father-in-law was the tail gunner of that B-17. And so was there, and then we were able to just connect on a very different level about that experience, not only with his father-in-law during World War II, flying in B-17s, which those heroes, my God, they're the greatest generation for a reason. And just to be able to interact and go through that, but then also to have a guy like Mike McCarthy, who does have some quasi-celebrity status, know and remember exactly who I was as a person, remember that I was the guy that was helping him do things, and being able to really have some cool interaction. That was just something that was really special and was able to help bring a couple of worlds together for me. So that was really cool. I'll give you one more, and this one's out there for all you Nicki Minaj fans. I'll preface this by saying I like Nicki. But I had a weird interaction once with Nicki Minaj. I was working down in Orlando for the NBA All-Star Game. And that year, Nicki and Pitbull were the halftime entertainment. And so one of my roles in that event was to make sure that both of their trailers got stocked with everything they needed. And I'll never forget, put our traditional catering stuff based on their sheet, their preference sheet, put it all in the trailer. And Nicki's people ended up calling up and saying, yeah, Nicki is really just interested in getting some Popeye's chicken. Would you just go out and get some Popeye's chicken and bring it back? Okay, sure, yeah. I mean, it's not unheard of for us to do things like this. Go out, get the Popeye's chicken, bring it back, put it in her trailer. She was off doing something. About 10 minutes later, end up getting a call from Nicki's people again, saying that Nicki felt like her trailer smelled too much like chicken, so we needed to come and remove the chicken from the trailer, which was very interesting and an odd request, and things that we get from time to time. But it was just one of those weird things where you get down there and you're like, well, I understand that it smells like chicken because we just put Popeye's chicken in here. So anyway, that's what I had for some stories for you.
Okay, let's just say that was a fantastic story time segment.
It was all right.
No, it was awesome.
Right. It was all right.
I love that we got through 4 stories.
Yeah.
And each of them unique. Mm-hmm. And you've seen some things.
I've been blessed to see some things, yes. I've had some really great opportunities in life, which is cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
And now, gosh, listeners, you already know it's time. That's right. Every single time. We love it, love it, love it. When we play that, it is time for story time. Or not story time. It is time for the topic of the week. The topic of the week is chosen by our guest 99.9% of the time, and this week is no different. So, Ryan, what do you got for our topic of the week?
Yeah, no big surprise here, but we're going after the Oshkosh Area Community Pantry on this one because I wanted to just dive in, I think, a little bit more on some of the other programs that we have. So we've talked about the school pantry program already, which is certainly a cool thing in the school district. We talked, I think, a lot about the in-store operations that we have, which is that grocery store style of operations. Couple of other things that are going to be happening. So one, I'll talk about a program. So we also have what we call our Food for Health initiative, which for anybody who has some specialty diet restrictions, like if you need a more diabetic friendly diet, we'll put together a little box together with help from our friends at Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin, where we'll have a bunch of shelf-stable foods that will be low or no sodium products, be whole wheat pasta as opposed to regular pasta, those types of things. So anybody that self-identifies as needing that diet can self-identify with us and be able to pick up that box. And that box, it does not replace your shop. It's in addition to your shop. You can still shop the aisles. You can still get everything else that you need. But it just ensures that we've got some of those shelf-stable items for you. So that's a really cool piece on that Food for Health initiative. The second side of that is working directly with the healthcare systems here in town. And with those systems, the easy portion is the docs identify folks that are food insecure. Obviously, they refer them to us, which is really the easy one. But the second, more challenging one is if a doc notices somebody's facing nutrition insecurity, because those are two very different things. If there's somebody that does not have access to fresh fruits, vegetables, lean meats, proteins, they'll also refer them to us. And so the idea with this is hopefully what we're going to be able to try to do is track preventative care and how having access to those foods are going to hopefully limit doctors' visits, hopefully maybe move the needle on things like hypertension or other cardiac-related illnesses. And hopefully get to a point where we can start seeing preventative care, because we're really good in this country about reactive care. We're not good about preventative care. So that'll be a really cool piece that will start to transition here over the next couple of years as we work further into those systems to try to really help. So far, we've gotten all of the healthcare systems involved in this, which is great. So we've got Aurora in town, we've got Mercy in town, Ascension in town. And with Theta Care coming to the community soon, we've also have started the conversations with them and getting them on board with this as well too. So it's been pretty cool in how all of that has been able to come together. The last thing that I'll share about the pantry is some really cool updates that's going to be happening with our pantry. And so hopefully by the time this is released, we'll be in the thick of it, in full swing of this. But one of the other programs that we're heavily associated with is TFAP, or it's the Emergency Food and Assistance Program. And it's a government-based program. Think of the government cheese program from a long, long time ago. It has morphed into what we now have, which is a far better program. And by far better, I mean it is first-run canned goods, not second-hand or third-hand. It is fresh milk. It is fresh farmer-to-pantry produce. It's good quality stuff. However, the federal government is changing, the state government is changing some of the parameters around TFAP. So as it stands right now, there are only two qualifying factors we do ask for to utilize our services. The first is just to provide proof of who you are, so NID of some sort, state ID card, passport, military ID, anything, driver's license. Second is proof of address. That could be a piece of mail with your name and address, could be a utility bill, could be something on your phone, doesn't matter, as long as it has your name, your address. That's it. Those are the only two things that we ask folks to bring with them when they come to the pantry. Now, we're also really good about reminders, so if you don't have them, still come in, still register, we'll still get you shopping. We're really good about reminding you 2, 3, 4 times if we have to. Usually by the third or fourth, folks will remember and bring it in. And if there are folks out there that are truly facing homelessness, they can't provide a address or they can't provide proof of identity, we'll still work with you as well. Still come in. We'll still get you registered. If you're in a shelter situation, we use the shelter address. If you're truly living out of your car or on the streets or whatever, doesn't matter. Come in. We'll make sure that you get what you need. So I say all this in the regulations through the TFAP program are changing, which is through the state government, in that no longer will they be requiring the proof of address or the proof of service area for TFAP products only. And so the 3 ways that we get food is Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin, TFAP, and then whatever we purchase or get donated through food drives or whatever. And so for the TFAP portion of it, the government is now saying we can no longer require any sort of ID verification or proof of address verification to apply for those foods or to get those foods, which we are very much in favor of this. I mean, what the government's trying to do is say what they preach, which is let's create a barrier-free opportunity. And we're in the same boat right now where we say that as well. We want to be barrier-free. We want to help as many folks as possible. And so What this is doing is it's just now making it mandatory that those requirements are going to be dropped off for that particular program. What ends up happening then is pantries now have a decision to make. They will either have to keep service area for all of the rest of their foods, but then not require that for TFAP food, meaning you basically are separating food in different experiences. The second option is to just drop service area completely. And then the third option is creating some sort of hybrid program around TFAP products, meaning if you have a pantry that's full of donated or purchased or Feeding America food, you put your TFAP-only food in a separate bag or box or something else, and then that's just an allotment that everybody has access to. As I've mentioned, I think we are not box or bag model folks. That's just not something we subscribe to. So we knew that option for us was completely off the table. So for us, what it did is it really made us think about what does the pantry look like in this next version. And so ultimately, we've made the decision, if we're going to live and preach everything that we say, which is being a barrier-free opportunity, making sure that we're available to everybody that needs us, we need to continue to live that model. And so we as a pantry have made the decision that starting October 1st, we are going to be completely barrier-free. We are completely dropping service area, meaning anybody technically from the entire state of Wisconsin who has needs and needs food access can come to the Oshkosh Area Community Pantry, and we'll make sure that they have the foods they need. And we are not going to separate TFAP food from the other foods. We are going to work very hard to make sure that the same experience that our guests get right here in our service area, this is the same shopping experience that we're going to try to provide to everybody else in our surrounding areas that will be coming to utilize us. So that is going to be, I think, for us, a pretty massive change. Don't completely quote me on this, but I think we'll be the first pantry in the state to do this, which for us is important. It fulfills our mission. It completely aligns in everything we stand for and what we want to do. We recognize that there's probably going to be a pretty big influx of guests needing to or wanting to utilize our services and coming from different parts of the community or different communities. We know that being in Oshkosh, we're kind of smack dab in the middle of Fond du Lac and Appleton, Neenah, Menasha. I can't imagine folks from Green Bay or northern Wisconsin will come, but we'll see. Either way, we'll still be able to offer our services to those folks that need us as well. So this is going to be a massive change. We're really excited about it. We're a little nervous. First few months are going to be, I think, a tester, and it's going to be interesting. We'll have to get used to our new normal and what that looks like on a business level every day. But we're really excited about it. And I think we're also just excited about what that will mean to come for us in the future. The different partnerships that we can create because of this, the different ways that we can get other communities and other folks involved with us is going to be incredible. So we're really excited about this change.
Let me ask some of the basics that I think people are probably curious about. I don't think a lot of people know where you're located.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about that. And then how many people do you serve annually?
Yeah. So our location, we are inside the St. Vincent de Paul building on Jackson Street. Official address is 2551 Jackson Street. We have a really, really great partnership with St. Vincent de Paul. We lease space from them, so it's a great longstanding partnership. When our pantry first came from, so we started in 1989. We were a collaboration of local churches that gathered all in the basement of Trinity Episcopal Church here in town. And over time, from 89 all the way until 2008, business got busier, volunteers started aging out, And in 2008, there was really this community effort from a lot of different folks really came together and said, okay, obviously this is a concern in our community. We need to address this in a different way, which is when we officially formed what we now know as the Oshkosh Area Community Pantry in 2008 and formed the relationship with St. Vincent de Paul, where we lease space inside that building. And we think it's great because it offers a few different services all in one place for our guests. So we know that we've got shared users that go between the pantry and St. Vincent de Paul. They have a lot of great services. Not only can you go find all of your fantastic tchotchkes and vintage-related items in their store, but they also have some wraparound services. They do some rental assistance. They give out bus passes. They do all these great things. And so having two of us in the same building is really, really, really great and impactful for our guests. So, but when you go into that building, literally just go in the front door, hang a left, you'll literally run right into us, and you'll be at our official space there. When it comes to total numbers of people that we're helping in the community, when I first started 2.5 years ago, we were averaging about 1,300 families a month that we were helping. As it stands today, we're at 2,300 plus.
Wow.
That's a month.
That's crazy.
When I first started, we were distributing about 1 million pounds of food out to our community members. As it stands today, we're about almost 2.5 million pounds of food out the door. Now, that does not also include some of the wraparounds. We also act as the regional distribution point for all of the other pantries in Winnebago County, meaning TFAP and Feeding America will ship the entire county's allotment of food to our organization. And then from there, we help redistribute those goods to the other pantries in the area. So we'll do an additional 500,000 pounds worth of redistribution to those other pantries. So, 2.5, almost 3 million pounds of food is a lot of food that is going directly into community members' hands.
Who are some of those other pantries?
Yeah, there are 7 of us in town or in the area. So there's us, there's Father Carr's, there is the Salvation Army, there's the Lutheran Food Pantry, there is the Amro Food Pantry, there is the Winneconne Food Pantry, Ecumenical Food Pantry, Ruth's Pantry in town, his church, World Outreach. I was trying to count on my fingers to make sure I had them all.
You might have hit them all.
I can't remember if I hit them all or not. So there are, like I said, there are 7 of us, and we're kind of scattered throughout the community. So hopefully the idea is with this network of pantry partners that are all together. And by the way, we all very much work and play well in the sand with each other. We've actually joined, and this was years and years ago as well, we have a joint venture called the Winnebago County Hunger Network. And it is representatives of each of those pantries that get together on a monthly basis just to talk about the food scene, talk about who has what. We talk about granting opportunities. We talk about all these things so that way we can help each other in this fight, because there's no question, food insecurity, we need to get as many people involved in this as possible. And so the fact that we've all banded together, we'll share food with one another, we create resources between each other, it's a really great collaboration. No matter where you are in the community, hopefully there's a pantry that's by you that can help support you.
What are the hours of the pantry?
Yeah, so right now we're open Monday through Thursday for guest shopping. Mondays we're open from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 6 o'clock. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. until 2:45 p.m. Part of those hours, obviously, because St. Vincent de Paul is the building owner, when St. Vinny's is open, so can we. So, yeah.
Volunteers.
Volunteers.
Do you need some, and how do you become one?
Yes, all of the things, Timber. So volunteers for us are the absolute lifeblood of our organization. They are truly the power makers that make what we do possible. Our organization is 99% run on volunteers. There are only 5 of us staff members, and obviously 5 staff members would not be able to do all the things that are required to especially set up a grocery store style operation, and then all the other programmatics that we do. And so 99% run by volunteers. It takes about 60 to 80 volunteer shifts a week for us to be able to pull off what we do. Our volunteers are incredible, incredible people. They are selfless. They work tirelessly. They are some of the most important and unbelievable people I think I've ever come across, mostly because we have volunteers that will donate 40 hours a week to our organization. We'll have volunteers that'll donate an hour a month to our organization. Either way, we treat you the same. And I think one of the coolest things about our volunteer opportunities is we don't dictate how long your shift has to be. So once you get into our system, which is a really, really easy system, and we really love it. If you're interested, go to oacptoday.org. That's our website. We've got a spot on there for volunteering. It will take you to our volunteer link where you just fill out a quick little application. That application will get sent right to our volunteer manager. He'll reach out to you instantly and say, okay, now you can start doing some of your training stuff. All of our training is online, so you can do it whenever you want. And the system that we have will just tell us when you've gone through that training and you've signed off on all the things. And then from there, you'll be able to schedule your first volunteer shift with the volunteer manager, just so that way, we'll do a shift or two with you, just so that way it's not like, we're feeding you to the wolves and you come in and you're, oh, what do I do? We'll guide you through the process and we'll get you through a little training process once you're there. But from there, once we completely release you, our schedule is completely online. We just list the shifts and the hours that are available to volunteer. And then you're able to sign up for whatever time slot you want. If you want to do an hour, you put yourself in from 9 to 10 a.m. If you want to do 4 hours, 10 hours, 8 hours, doesn't matter. It's all completely there. You can dictate your own schedule. If you want to do every Monday, you can do every Monday. If you want to do every other day, fine, no big deal. So, yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
It is awesome. And again, if we're going back to that barrier free for our guests, we should be pretty barrier free for our volunteers. For goodness sakes,
right?
They are donating their time to come and do all the things that they're doing. Let's make that experience easy as well. So,
and for those who are in need, right? I know one of the things that who are food insecure, one of the things you mentioned was you need an ID. What does the sign up process look like to be able to get resources?
Sign up is super simple. So we like to think that our registration process takes about 3 minutes to get through. Once you come into the pantry, I think the longest piece is really just waiting for your number to be called. So you'll come in, you'll grab a number, we'll get to you right away or as soon as we can. Once we call your number, registration folks are going to just take down your information. So it's going to be, they'll ask you name, address information. They'll also ask you other demographic related information. You can answer all of it. You can answer none of it. Does not matter. It's completely up to you. What I highly encourage, though, is if you are willing to give us some of that demographic information, what it does allow me to do is it allows me to be able to go out in the community and not only talk about the folks that we're helping, but it also allows me to be able to do a lot of grant writing, a lot of grant funding. Our funders, right, wrong, or indifferent, they want to know that information. And so it just makes it easier for us to really show what the need looks like and so how we're being able to accommodate that. So about 3 minutes, we get you registered. You get assigned your own pantry card, houses all of your information on that card. Just bring that back every time you want to come shop, and we'll be able to scan you in and go from there. Right now, shopping is 2 times a month. We don't dictate when in those 2 months or in that month you want to come. You want to come back-to-back days? Great. You want to come the 1st and the 30th? Great. Does not matter to us. You've got 2 times that you can come in the month. So however you want to use them.
My last question about this topic. Is there anything that you'd like to share with the Kosh guest at this time that maybe there wasn't a question that was asked about?
Yeah, maybe. I think a lot of times what I get is how can we help, or if we're thinking about donating, what can we donate and how do you do it? The answer that I always say is yes. So when folks ask, will you take this, will you take that? My answer is always yes. And the reason I say yes is even if it is something that the Oshkosh Area Community Pantry can't directly use itself, we have the network that we can get whatever that item is to the appropriate people to make sure that it can be used. And so what I'll say is even for a lot of the prepared, so as an example, the Quick Trip sandwiches, right? Mm-hmm. They're in the hot well. Quick Trip does a really great job in once those aren't good enough or they deem good enough, they put them in a box and then they'll call up and they'll say, hey, can you come pick them up or whatever. And so for us, just because it's been a prepared item, we don't want to use that specifically in our store, in our model, but we know the Salvation Army or Father Carr's does because they have food preparation models. And so we'll still go pick it up, but then we'll just go take it right to the Salvation Army or to Father Carr's to make sure that they can use it same day. So my answer always is, will we take it? Yes. And we'll figure out where it needs to go. We've created a lot of other partnerships with nonprofits. If we have an influx of laundry detergents or things that that do come in, we'll put some of it on the shelf, of course, because our guests love and need access to those things as well. But then we'll also share the love, and we'll make sure that we're sending some over to the day-by-day warming shelter. They do a lot of laundry every day, so we also know that they could use some of those things. So we will make sure that it gets to the right place. The other thing is, if you're looking at hosting a food drive, go to our website, oacptoday.org. We've made it very simple for you, and we have put together a OACP food drive toolkit. In that toolkit will be everything that you need to run your food drive. It's going to be the flyers that you can put up. It is the ideas of food that we are usually looking for. And so we'll have a standard list of foods, and then we'll also make it fun. And every month we do a different theme. And so could be summer picnic items, could be breakfast foods, could be spices and condiments, could be, you name it. Every month is a different theme. And so you can also have fun with it. And we put the entire calendar online so you can go to the grocery store and have fun every month and pick and choose different things, which makes it a little bit more fun. And so everything you need for that toolkit is there. Use it. And then anybody that is doing a food drive, we also love to know about that. So go on our social media page and either promote it or talk about it, because we also want to push it out there. You know, a lot of times we'll find out that folks are doing food drives and we don't know about it. And so we want to make sure that we support folks that are doing that. And that can either be from promoting it ourselves, but also, you know, if it becomes a lot, which we hope it does, we hope that the food drive is well and it's bountiful. And if you need help with a pickup, we'll come pick it up. We've got drivers and we've got the vehicles and the trucks that can do it. We've talked about volunteerism. We always are looking for different volunteers, and we're always looking for a variety of types of positions. So certainly look at that. And then lastly, really, is the monetary side of things. And what I'll say to folks is, when you do give monetarily to us, know that 97% of all the funds that come to the Oshkosh Area Community Pantry go directly back to the consumer. It goes right to our guests, which is actually a really incredible stat. You know, when you think about all of the other nonprofits out there that are doing a lot of great work, there's a lot of other things that go into nonprofits. But for us, you know, we'll only keep about 3% of that to make sure that we're paying staff and doing some marketing and that kind of stuff. The rest of everything goes directly into purchasing food or supporting our programmatics. And so the other thing that those funds allow us to do is be able to go out and purchase the things that we traditionally don't see in food drives. So, you know, meats are always a tough one. It's the most expensive thing in the grocery store right now. We usually don't see a lot of donation of meat products. So we have to go buy a lot of our meat product, and it's expensive. You know, when eggs were like, you know, $95 a flat, right? I mean, they were crazy a few years ago. You know, we were having to go out and purchase. And so it just allows us to be able to make sure that we have variety in our store and being able to find things that we just traditionally don't see.
Okay. One last question, only because since I got the opportunity to tour and gain some understanding about the program, the amazing resource. And once again, I want to stress to Kosh listeners, if you get an opportunity, you need to reach out to Ryan and go do this tour for yourself. You will be blown away by this amazing resource serving our community. But that being said, I remember you sharing this one thing with me about how, like, when there's donations of things where people don't know what to do with them, and there were cooking classes to help to learn how to cook certain things. Yep. And I forgot what the thing was in particular you used as an example.
Yeah, so we have this really cool space in the back of the pantry that was designed to be kind of a learning education place, doing some cooking classes, maybe doing some nutritional education, those types of things. Obviously, COVID happened. All that had to be put aside for a second. We didn't quite bring it back in that way. However, what I will say, I'm a big fan of not reinventing the wheel. And so what we do is partner with some other resources. As an example, UW Extension, UWO, a lot of different partners that will actually come to our organization, and they will help do some of this education for us and for our guests. Meaning, if we have a particular item in the store, and one of the stories that I have is we were lucky enough to get a massive bulk order of mincemeat. Now, mincemeat comes from across the pond. It comes in jars. And no, it is not meat. Folks generally didn't know what mincemeat was. Opened it up, ended up giving it to UW Extension, and they ended up coming through and doing not only some cooking demonstrations, but and also had some products that were made that folks could try with the recipes, that folks could take those items and take those recipes and hopefully help try to push that product. Mincemeat is just glorified apple pie filling, basically. So all the things that you think you can do with apple pie filling is what you could do with this product. it was just a scary name, right? Nobody wanted to really dip their toe into what this thing was until we were able to start doing some of those education pieces and saying, listen, it's not right here. Literally, just take a spoonful and try it. It's good. We promise you. And from there, we were able to finally start pushing it. And when I meant like we got a lot of it, I mean, we got a lot of it. I mean, we're talking like 7, 8, 9 pallets full of this stuff. So it took kind of a united front to help try to get some of that out of the community. So
I just think it's cool that you didn't just sit on it. Instead, you found solutions.
Yeah.
By helping to find out some recipes and to demystify it for people.
Yeah, exactly. And we love doing that kind of stuff. I mean, anytime that we can put recipe kits together, we can take a bunch of our products maybe that are in the pantry, put them all together in a bag and put a recipe associated with it. We'd love to try to do some of that. The challenge with that is, the pantry world is an ever-changing array of products. Every single day we get different things that come in. I mean, that's just the nature of what we do. And so the challenge with that is keeping up on it. So generally those recipe specs will come when we know we have a lot of it in, or we're really trying to push something that folks maybe don't know what to do with, or maybe they're just sick of the same way of doing it, right? That's where we'll try to get outside of the box and try to offer some different solutions there.
Okay. Well, Ryan, I just want to say thank you. Okay. At this time, we're going to start wrapping up this episode, Kosh listeners. You know what that means. So I just want to say thank you to Ryan, but thank you. Thank you for giving us your minds and ears. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for wanting to learn about another amazing community member out here making a difference in the Kosh. Once again, I can't stress, I want you to really find some time to do this tour. Don't do it just personally. Take your kids and let them learn. Let them learn about like how everybody needs dignity, even those who have the least of us. I can't stress how powerful of a setting it is, and how proud I am to live in a community that has a resource like this. Once again, we are trying to become the #1 podcast in all of Wisconsin, the People's Podcast. But we can't do it without your help. And how can you help? Well, there's lots of things you can do. Hey, what would you like to see as a segment? You got some segment ideas? Let's take it. Would you like to participate in the conversation, or would you like to tell your own story? We got a phone number, 920-385-5073. Give us a call, leave us a message, tell us a story. Put your 2 cents in. We'd love to share it with the Kosh listeners. Would you like to be a guest? Would you like to recommend a guest? If you'd like to do any of those things, just reach out to us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. Also, take a moment while you're listening, hit the subscribe button, or give us a ranking. Give us 5 stars only. If you're going to give us 4, I don't know. I got to give you a little side eye on that. But, give us some rankings or leave us a review. These things increase our analytics. The better the analytics, the more people get to learn about this amazing podcast known as the Kosh. Also, before we get off the air here, I want to make sure that I bring up our family and friends over there at Sunken Paddle Cidery Works or Cider Works. Please go try the Kosh cider. It is fantastic. Also, I want to make sure I give a nice shout out, because I still go to church. I want to give a shout out to Sturgeon Spirits, the Kosh's newest tradition out there serving Kosh's. They got a big week this week. This week they were releasing, they were these line of libation, a rum, a moonshine, and I forgot what the other one was.
I think it was a gin.
Yeah, a rum, a moonshine, and a gin, with the themes dealing with airplanes.
Squadron Spirits, I believe.
Squadron Spirits, yeah. It is. So don't know if they're going to have any of that left, but I know I'm going to go try to at least get a T-shirt.
Awesome.
I want a T-shirt. All right, Carl, if you're listening, that's your warning. Hook me up with a T-shirt. All right, now on to the real stuff. It is shout-out time. So, Ryan, what do you got?
A few shout-outs. First and foremost, no big surprise here. Got to shout out all of the volunteers that are at OACP that give their time, that come and make that place what it is. Staff can only do so much, so we're so grateful for all of you. Also to all of the supporters of OACP, our friends, our pantry partners, our donors who allow us to be able to do what we do. All of you truly are making a difference in solving food insecurity in this community. And so just absolutely have to shout out them. Honestly, I want to take this opportunity for you, Timber, to shout out you right now for allowing for this platform, allowing for nonprofits and other groups to be able to come together, have a place, talk about not only who we are, but get into a lot of other fun topics. You are also an amazing community member, so thank you for doing this, because it truly is amazing. So thank you.
Hey, thank you, Ryan. We got some shout-outs. My shout-outs this week. Hey, I'm going to give a shout-out to EAA. I got to go on opening day. It was fantastic. You know what I want y'all to notice about EAA? This is what I did this year. And many of you know, if you know me, you would know this, but if you don't know me, you'll learn. I don't wear shorts. I've never worn shorts. I bought my first pair of shorts a week ago, and I bought them specifically to wear to EA. Cargo shorts, to be specific, because there is an EA uniform. If you've ever gone out to EA, the uniform is as such. You must have some New Balances or some Nike Monarchs or something along that lines, or there's these new shoes now that those big funny shoes that begin with an H. I don't know how to enunciate those. Either, yeah, but those are the shoes, and then you got to have some cargo shorts, and then you need some type of T-shirt, preferably a shirt dealing with something in aviation, but a cool local T-shirt will also fly very well, and then you need a safari hat. That is the EAA uniform. I went in full EA uniform this Monday to EA and felt very welcome.
Awesome.
I've gone in past years and I didn't wear any of that.
Okay.
But this year, I felt like the brethren.
That's great.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. So yes, now I like shorts and I will continue to wear them. I want to send out a shout out to my man Kay the Barber over at Taper's Barbershop in Appleton. I had my tarot cards read this week, so I want to send a shout out to Donna, who took the time to read my cards, which was an excellent reading, but now it has me on the lookout for all of these signs of things that she told me. Yeah, it was, and I will say there she had a lot of energy and spirituality about her. So she is a professional tarot card reader, and you know what? I might have her on a future episode because I know a lot of people don't believe in it, but there's no harm, there's no foul.
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps. Big shout out to my man Oliver Zorno over at the Building for Kids. I had a great conversation with him this week. He is a man. He is such a wise man, and he's always putting me on to life game, and I appreciate that. Big shout out to Jamie, who is the executive director of the Fox Valley Symphony. I got an opportunity to go to what was Music Under the Stars last week, and that was just crazy. Have you ever gone to that?
I have not gone to that, but I have just chatted with Jamie.
The cool thing about that particular event, it's out at Timber Ryler Stadium, and you get to sit, and it's free.
Yeah.
It's free. Yeah. So you get to get in for free, and it's the symphony, and they start off with some traditional stuff that the symphony would play, but then it goes into rock. Nice. And this rock medley, and they bring in a band, and they're meshing with the orchestra, and it's just insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
incredible.
It was a really, really good time. Thank you for inviting me. I got the opportunity to see that my wife likes rock a lot, is what I will say. She was definitely singing along to some of the songs, and I was stunned that she knew all the words, but I guess I really shouldn't be. A big shout out to Peter and Adriana over at the Appleton Library. We just went through the process of selecting our first poet laureate for the city of Appleton. and I got to be part of that process. They were leading the charge, and we will be rolling that out shortly out of Appleton, and that is just an amazing thing to add to our art scene. It is pretty cool. Want to send a shout out to the food co-op who is carrying the Kosh cider and actually put a post on social media about it. So there is an episode coming soon with the manager of the food co-op. So stay tuned. And then, as we always end all shout outs, at least from my end, a huge shout out to my wife who holds me down, who supports me, who takes care of me. It takes amazing care of me. And allows me to continue recording this podcast in the house. Yes, baby. I love you. Okay, one last thing to do, Ryan, and that is this. You have a choice, and the choice is this. You can, A, leave some parting words of wisdom for the Kosh listeners. B, tell us, what would yourself today tell your 13-year-old self? Or option C, you can do both. How would you like to end?
I'm going to try both. Let's see what happens.
Let's go.
Let's see what happens. All right. So first, what would I tell my 13-year-old self? I would tell my 13-year-old self to get out and explore. Do more. Don't just, get stuck in your bubble of not only thinking, but always doing some of the same things. Get out, explore, enjoy life. Maybe break some glass and shatter some barriers, go do some things. Go enjoy life, and while you do it, make sure that you do more traveling, because I was not able to do as much as I'd like. So I'm hopefully trying to make up for that now. My parting words, this community is phenomenal. Oshkosh is a fantastic place. Proof is in the pudding. We have more young people that are moving to this community, which is a good thing. It's going to make a more vibrant community, but also know that this community has a lot of work to do in a lot of ways, and know that there are a lot of great services, a lot of great people, a lot of great folks that are doing a lot of good work, this podcast included. So with that, I'm just so grateful to be here and to be able to be a part of it.
Facts. All right, Ryan, what'd you think?
It was awesome.
It's the Kosh.
It's the Kosh.